Imagine you're walking through a thick, shadowy forest. The fog is so dense you can barely see your own hands. Every rustling branch sounds like a predator. Every dark shape looks like a monster waiting to strike. You spend the entire night completely paralyzed, waiting for the attack. But then the sun rises, the fog clears, and you look around to discover that those terrifying monsters were exactly that, an illusion. They were just ordinary pine trees. That disorienting mist operates exactly like chronic anxiety. When our minds go into overdrive, we lose the ability to see our circumstances clearly. We take an everyday challenge, a difficult conversation at work, a looming deadline, a confusing text message, and our brain twists it, projecting shadows until it feels like a life or death scenario. We convince ourselves that playing out every worst-case scenario will keep us safe, but running those simulations doesn't prepare us for danger. It simply traps us in a fabricated nightmare, draining all the energy and joy out of the present moment. And carrying that mental weight takes a very real physical toll. Think of a teacher standing in front of a classroom, holding up a simple glass of water. If you hold that glass for 60 seconds, it weighs practically nothing. But if you hold that exact same glass in the exact same position for 12 straight hours, your arm is going to collapse. Psychologists call this cognitive load. This diagram tracks what happens when you hold a stressful thought over time. The longer you dwell, the more your system strains. Your muscles tense, energy plummets, and exhaustion spikes, even if you haven't moved. The objective size of the problem never actually changes. It's the sheer duration of the overthinking that makes the glass impossible to carry. So how do we put that glass down? Consider the story of Marco, the young man who was entirely exhausted by a constant storm of past regrets and future anxieties. Desperate for a cure, he sought out a wise psychologist. The doctor didn't prescribe a complex therapy regimen. Instead, he filled a glass of water to the absolute brim and gave Marco a simple command: walk to the edge of the village and back without spilling a single drop. The village was a gauntlet of distractions. Marco had to navigate narrow, uneven dirt roads, dodge children running through the streets, and avoid stray dogs barking at his ankles. Yet Marco made it back with the glass completely full. When the doctor asked how he managed the chaotic streets, Marco admitted he hadn't noticed the dogs or the children at all. He only saw the water. Marco survived that overwhelming environment by shrinking his entire world down to the one immediate task in his hands. Because his attention was entirely locked onto the glass, his mind finally went quiet. This chart represents your brain's attentional bandwidth. It is a strictly finite neurological resource. When you fill that capacity to 100% with a single primary task, there is zero space left over for external distractions. When you completely anchor your focus to the present moment, those spiraling thoughts of anxiety and regret literally have nowhere to land. They bounce right off. Staying present is an active mechanical defense system. It starves your anxiety of the attention it needs to survive. There is an immense difference between sitting passively and obsessing over a problem and the deep relief of actively solving it. The heavy burden in your chest will not magically evaporate while you sit there analyzing it. It only fades when you make a deliberate physical choice to move forward. This flowchart outlines a simple roadmap to break the cycle. First, acknowledge the internal burden. Second, measure the physical toll it's taking on you. And third, force a decision. Either take steps to solve the problem or deliberately walk away and rest. You have to abandon the hope that the glass will somehow lighten on its own. If you want peace, you have to take the physical action to put the glass down. You can practice this kind of single tasking today. Try eating your next meal without looking at a screen, noticing the texture and taste of every single bite. If you find yourself caught in a thought loop, change your physical environment. Stepping outside into the daylight acts as a circuit breaker. You can even use a grounding technique. Look around your room and verbally name 3 ordinary objects out loud. It forces your brain out of the imagined future and back into the physical present. And most importantly, build hard boundaries into your day. Schedule mandatory windows of time where you completely disconnect from your work and your worries. We will never be able to control the chaotic, unpredictable noise of the outside world. By anchoring ourselves to the present moment, we gain the power to master the silence within.